Tra-la-la-la-la.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
You're gonna like this.
Has it got a name, Dad?
I just call him Gizmo. Don't ever feed him after midnight.
And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus.
You heard it up top. We have a mischievous little episode for you this week because that's right. We're talking about the ones, the only, the Gremlins. Ooh, here on Normies Like Us with your hosts, old Mr. Colin coming down in my little electric wheelchair slidey thing.
Mikey Pimsler or whatever.
And this is Gizmo.
Oh no, I don't like that.
The best gremlin, Gizmo. You don't want to know what my special bit is. You're not gonna like it.
Right.
You have a mohawk too, like Stripe, but
yes.
You're as mischievous as Gizmo.
Right. But yeah, we're here talking Gremlins. It's a 2-movie series, but we're kind of focusing on, holiday seasons here. We always like to do a holiday kind of theme, or we'll do a series of movies. Today we're just doing the old holiday Gremlins, set during Christmas. But I wanted to point out that this is actually kind of on brand because, we've done Harry Potter throughout the holidays before. And again, this is penned by Chris Columbus, director of the first couple of Harry Potters. So there's a little bit of a historical Normies Like Us DNA with this one. Yeah.
For sure, Mike. We have kicked around in our Spooktobers of like, do we do Gremlins now? Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? And these two films kind of enter that territory. And like you said, first one, the ultimate holiday movie, in my opinion. And I am very excited to be talking about it.
We've gotten past the generation, I think maybe 5 years ago, there was a big push for, Die Hard's the best Christmas movie, or most underrated, kind of, black sheep Christmas movie or something, or, dark horse favorite. But I've always felt like Gremlins has been one of my favorites that most people overlook. So I'm really excited to revisit it. But I want to ask you guys, is this a holiday favorite, or one you watched growing up? Did you, watch the Gremlins before? Jacob, is this something that you were into growing up, or what?
For me, no, not really, because I really never saw Gremlins all the way through. I mean, I knew through sort of cultural osmosis and things like that. And I've seen parts of it, so I knew the rules and different things like that. But I had never seen it all the way through. Kind of a cultural blind spot for me, if you will. So I'm very excited to talk about it because I watched it for the first time this weekend.
Wow.
That's awesome. Yeah. How about you, Colin?
I'm excited to dig into Jacob's first time all the way through viewing. But it became a classic through unlikely odds in that my brother and I were very scared of horror movies. We've talked about it in Spooktobers. We didn't watch the slashers of the world. We didn't watch the Michael movies growing up. But early teens, probably maybe 12 or 13, we had come home from school, done our normal afternoon routine of throwing on Channel 50, Comedy Central, for the midday matinee. I don't know if you guys remember that. They would show a movie in the middle of the day, right? You'd catch the end as you'd come home from school. Holiday season, they would get National Lampoon, they'd get Scrooged, and then they'd get Gremlins. And we threw it on, and I think it was that moment of like, ooh, is this about to be too scary? And I remember it perfectly. It was the mom scene where she's fighting them off.
Oh, yeah.
She's doing the microwave. She's doing down the disposal. She's ended up throwing them in the fireplace.
Yep.
And the survival of that, Mike, and the fact that she wasn't like a slasher victim, I legit remember my brother, again, like 15 years old, turning to me and being like, oh, these are like fun adventure monster movies. And I'm pretty sure we went to Blockbuster that night and rented it. And since then, it's been like a holiday classic. And I love Gizmo. I've got a bunch of Gizmo stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He's a cute little adorable guy. So I don't know. How about you, dude?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, Grogu who, right? Get out of here.
Yes.
The original, cute little big-eared guy. I think Joe Dante even said, hey, this Grogu seems like it's a blatant ripoff of what we did, right? And never
don't get
count
Grogu
out...
wet, Mike.
No, he doesn't like, unless it's that...
Don't feed him. ever. Really.
Well,
He'll
feed
steal
him,
eggs that he shouldn't be eating.
yeah, feed him frog
Yeah.
eggs.
And then never count out Lynn Peltzer. You know, we have Ripley and Lynn Peltzer, some of the greatest heroines of the 80s monster flicks, right?
Right.
But yeah, I love this movie. I watched it when I was a kid, like, you know, young, probably younger than you guys, but I grew up with Gremlins, and it's right up my alley of, you know, practical effects, you know, Jim
Yeah.
Henson, all that kind of stuff. I'm a big sucker for that. So I don't know if just my parents were also into that and this just came down the pipeline, or if I had expressed interest. So I got to get more stuff with crazy puppets. But either way,
Mm.
this is right, you know, in my wheelhouse, is stuff that I really like. And there's a lot of clever movie magic going on with it. So I appreciate the craft just as much as kind of the film itself. I adore this movie. So thanks for talking about it with me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
To what Colin was saying, it's interesting because it's hard to classify what genre this movie is, right? Is it a horror movie? Is it a comedy? Is it a Christmas movie? I would say yes, it is, but
To all.
it's kind of all of that, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
But when I was watching it, so I didn't know every detail. You know, I knew the basic plot of this beforehand. I didn't know quite how violent it would get to where the mom is just, you know, murdering these things with a blender and a microwave.
microwave.
But then,
yeah.
you know, I'm seeing that. I am getting scared, Jacob. But the next scene is the Gremlins at a movie theater, one smoking a cigarette and he's talking to a hand puppet. Like, what do you think of those tone shifts?
Well, first of all, obviously they're sentient beings, so calls into the morality of just murdering them.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
But I guess they are evil, but it seems like the mom is very quick to just start murking them when
Well,
they
they do aggress first, and they are in her house.
They got
yeah.
those claws, yeah.
And they kill
It's the green
science
scare.
teacher, right? But she doesn't know the science teacher.
No.
But yeah, I love the Gremlins. I love the Mogwais. I love the design of them all. And yeah, like you said, great practical effects, puppetry. It's great.
All right, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. Let's break some rules. Let's get wet. Let's eat. Let's shine some lights, because we're going to be talking, oh my God, Gremlins coming up here on Normies Like Us. We're back. We're going to talk Mogwais, but mainly we're going to talk Gremlins here on Normies Like Us. Again, it's our little holiday episode. We're talking a cool Christmas movie directed by Joe Dante, 1984. Just a quick thing to say. I pointed out before, this film kind of wouldn't exist if in 1982, a different little animatronic monster named E.T. the Extraterrestrial didn't come out and prove to studio executives that you could make a movie starring teenagers, kids, that had actual plots that weren't just Billy loses his dog, family movie, get the adventure back. But how do we come to make this particular movie, Mike?
Yeah, so kind of the brief history of how this was developed. As I mentioned up top, it was written by Christopher Columbus, and the way he tells it, he was living in New York. It was a
Discovered
shitty
America.
apartment. Yeah, and he says, "Oh, I would sleep, and then I'd
It was
wake
Columbus
up."
Day.
It was Columbus Day. Yeah. His father was dressed up as Columbus coming down the chimney, as they do. But he said he'd wake up at night and like a mouse would be running past his hand. So he had this fear of like little creatures getting at you, just this little guys, right? So he started writing the script kind of about gremlins and the legends of little monsters and World War II planes and stuff. And he writes this script, and it started out like a lot darker. Like it did start out as horror. Like at one point, Billy's mom, she gets her head cut off, and they roll it down the stairs when he comes home. Like it's very dark. But Spielberg catches wind of this script and is like, yeah, I like a lot of what you have, but let's push it a little more family friendly. So it kind of goes that direction. And then Joe Dante gets roped in after doing The Howling and Piranha, which is like a parody of Jaws. So he's kind of got those chops, and
Right guy for the job.
Yeah. And then so kind of Spielberg has this more let's say mainstream blockbuster sensibility because he created it, and he starts to kind of apply that to this pretty clever script that I think Chris Columbus wrote, and it kind of becomes more of a family-friendly satire. But this and can't remember the other movie, but there's two movies off the top of my head, but they created the PG-13 rating basically because it was like, there's one other one.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, correct?
Temple of Doom.
Oh, Temple of
Temple
Doom.
of Doom.
Yeah, Kalima. So yeah, you got
Yeah.
it. So those two kind of gave us PG-13, but that's kind of how we got to the
It is
Gremlins.
dark.
And you can definitely see the Spielberg influence where it's like it's got the Spielberg feel to it, but it's also just a little bit darker. And I think that's the Joe Dante of it. And Joe Dante, he's kind of zany too. Like he adds that zaniness and that darkness. That Looney Tunes. I mean, he even made a Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah, Jacob, we have talked about John Carpenter so much on this podcast, but Joe Dante, John Carpenter, a little bit with Zemeckis and Spielberg, but these guys who came up in that generation are these 50s culture worshippers, and there comes with it that sort of corniness and sort of inherent kind of goofiness and zaniness, and that's a lot in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Right. And like, so, the Gremlins concept from World War II, which they kind of go over in the movie, that was a real thing where, when something went wrong on the plane or something, they would blame gremlins in the engine. And
Do you guys remember, were you about to say the fame? Oh, I was going to say the famous Bugs Bunny cartoon. Do you remember that one where he's interacting with a gremlin on a ship?
No, I don't remember that.
I was going to say Looney Tune goes back to Joe Dante, but yeah, it hit the Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone episode starring our guy, William Shatner, where he goes on a plane, he sees a little gremlin out on the wing.
There's a gremlin.
He's trying to convince people that he's out there. No one believes him. Classic episode of Twilight Zone, of course.
The George Miller Twilight Zone movie version with John Lithgow, where it's a gigantic ape basically on the wing.
Right.
Very scary.
Yeah, I've seen that one as well. But it's also like you mentioned, Colin, they're like 50s heads, right? They all kind of grew up on, even George Lucas, like he loved the serials, Flash Gordon stuff.
Yeah.
And even like, this is kind of like a fable in the vein of It's a Wonderful Life, right? There's some elements of that. We have, instead of Mr. Potter, we have, the lady who wants to take everybody's houses.
Well, they're even watching It's a Wonderful Life on TV at one point, and they're watching The Blob. There's a lot of
Gizmo loves
references.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's touch on some of these influences, references before we get into the plot, because it is very much like those 50s, and those are a lot of out of the, the Cold War stuff, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, things like that. And it's like that, like small town comes under siege by a outside threat, or some strange paranormal thing. So it's pulling on that.
Yeah, and
vibe.
It's interesting because all these 80s guys, they were kind of, in love with the 50s. Nowadays, we as a culture are in love with the 80s. So it's like nostalgia is on this cycle, right?
Here's the vicious truth for our generation, Jacob. Everybody is in love with the time when they were in their 20s. And when we were in our 20s,
or a teenager.
Yeah, but I would mainly say when you were like, I'm virile, I'm a stud. Like, I want to go back to that time. And for us, it's like, when was that? It's like, well, we were in another Iraq war. It's like the world was like never more tense than it ever was. Like our generation kind of lost nostalgia for a different time period and has, as you said, just honed in on the 80s to be like, that was the last time it was good.
Right. But not even the real 80s, more just an idealized
movie 80s.
Yeah.
Which is Gremlins.
Right.
And Spielberg and all these guys are kind of
the Amblin. I mean, to say again the ET of it all. Again, in 1982, you have the Amblin touch of a prosthetic little monster running around. Mm-hmm. And the difference is, and why I love Gizmo so much more, is I don't want E.T. to touch me or for me to touch him. I would love to pick up a Mogwai.
Crazy looking, yeah.
He's disgusting.
I like E.T. the movie, but yeah, the design of that creature was scary for me. He was scarier to me than the Gremlins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least I knew they were evil. I can't read E.T., man. Especially when he's all white and dying. That was scary.
Oh no.
Get away from me. The design of the Mogwais, there's nothing gross about it. They're just cute, cuddly, furry little guys.
When they're eating sticky food, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. When they're the bad ones, yeah. But
little bad
very
boys.
cute.
Yes.
The word Mogwai, it does come from, Chinese folklore. I think Cantonese word, and it's basically just translates like devil or little demon guy. So it's kind of roughly basing on something, but not exactly. But the Mogwai, the word is not made up, right? It comes from kind of Cantonese, and we get that's where we get our little guy. And Spielberg wanted him to be the sidekick. In the original script, Gizmo becomes Stripe, and it's a whole thing.
You want a good one
villain
that you can root for throughout the movie.
So Spielberg's very smart to make that call.
I do have a lot of questions regarding the rules of the Mogwais and the Gremlins. Maybe we can get into that a little bit.
List them off, dude. Go through. What are the rules?
Well, so of course you have, direct sunlight is bad for them. Bright lights.
Yep.
That'll kill them. Don't get them wet. And don't feed them after midnight.
hold on. What happens if you get them wet?
Well, apparently they pop little things off their back that turn into more Mogwais. They reproduce essentially.
Right. So they become more Mogwais.
Don't kill them. Don't let them fuck.
I'm trying to scientifically classify them. So they're mammals that reproduce asexually through the contact with water. Yeah.
They're in the same family as platypi.
Let's discuss the scientific basis of Gremlin then, because I in Gremlins 2, we might touch on that a little bit. We're focusing more on the first movie, but they kind of poke fun at it. Like, what if you're on an airplane and you cross the international date line and then you have something stuck in your teeth? Does that count as midnight? It's like,
time zones, like how does
it's a little arbitrary.
And
so you gotta go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in the new batch, when he does pop off the new Mogwais, they're like mean Mogwais immediately. Which in this one, they're still nice before they eat. Like even the ones that pop off.
I don't know about that.
I think they're playing.
They're maybe a little mischievous, but they're not trying to kill you yet. Right?
It begs the question of: do you think Gizmo popped off someone's back?
He must have.
Yeah, well, you know what? I guess we'll find out.
I don't
in
know about that. I think
unless he's the
parents were the Jor-El and whatever of the Man of Steel.
Mogwai,
they fucked.
You
think he's the original? That would be amazing.
Well, here's what I know. We're going to get that 2023 series. Everyone's been asking for it. Secrets of the Mogwai, which is based on 1920s.
Answer all our questions.
Set in China. We'll figure out where Mr. Wing, young Mr. Wing, met
hot Gizmo, ostensibly, you would imagine, right?
There's scripts where they came from space, so who knows what it was going to be revealed. But yeah, they are a mystery. And also, if you're a Mogwai and you get wet, you make more Mogwais. But then we see Spike getting wet, or Stripe getting wet, and then is he going to just make Gremlins instantly? Can you skip that whole stage?
Seems like it. Well, if you're looking at the new batch, they do get wet, and they make new Gremlins immediately.
Right. So whatever form you're in, you make that. But if you eat after midnight as a Mogwai, then you transform. That's the trigger to transform.
My question is, if these new Mogwais were already mean or mischievous, so if Gizmo ate after midnight, he would also turn into a mean gremlin?
I would think so.
He turns down the food. He goes, no, thank you. Bad.
Self-control, which is rare in the species, I guess.
But it seems you take on some aspect of your personality from transforming from a Mogwai into a gremlin. So maybe he would be like the only good gremlin.
A pretty chill one.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. Here's my overwhelming question of this podcast.
Yes.
Do you think you guys could take care of a Mogwai and follow the rules? How long do you think it would be before it turns into a gremlin?
Well, first of all, I think I would do a much better job than little Billy does, who's, I would say, very careless with these rules and has the deaths of many people on his hands, essentially.
He does, yeah.
Think about
By the time Corey Feldman comes in, I screamed at the TV, "Get that glass of milk off the bed, you idiot!"
Yeah.
When he just got a can of Coke sitting on his bed.
Yeah, I was like, "You morons!"
And then he just half-assed gives them some chicken at like 11:30 at night. Doesn't realize the clock was like chewed.
that it's actually 2:30 in the morning.
They did it to him, yeah.
But have you ever lost track of time that much, Mike, where you're like, well, it's just another day?
Well, if you're a kid in the 80s reading a comic book, who knows,
Doing doodles while your dog watches TV, basically.
But I also thought it was like irresponsible that he gives them the chicken and then like falls asleep while they're eating. So they could keep eating past midnight anyway, and he would never have known.
Yeah, Billy Peltzer is a poor owner.
Yeah, and again, he offers it to Gizmo. That seems wrong to me. Gizmo did not seem hungry. Relax. Yeah, we're getting into the big issue.
Does snow count as liquid? Apparently not. Apparently snow does not count.
It has to be in liquid.
They're all running around in the snow. Nothing. It's got to be liquid H2O water. Yeah. Ice crystals that melt on body heat doesn't count. Yeah. No. So the rules are a little arbitrary. Obviously, I think that's been made fun of, and we'll continue to do so.
But they are so iconic, Mike. What other franchise spells out a scream. I mean, literally, where you're just like, oh, of course, the rules
These
of
are the
Gremlins.
rules. Yeah.
Horror movies need rules, right? And Freddy can only get you when you fall asleep. Stay awake. Okay, we know the rules. They might be silly, but there are rules, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Also, his dad's kind of to blame. So I guess to jump into it, we have
Yes.
his
Yeah,
father.
they're very irresponsible.
Yeah, his father is a inventor. He's like a
Let's stop right there, Mike. His father is an inventor, which is, to our young listeners who are listening now, you're not going to understand this, but to our generation, we would watch these movies set in the early 80s to, I would say, the early 90s that just involved you knowing an inventor. Whether it was the plot of Back to the Future, Jacob, which revolves around a teenager just going, "Oh, I'm just best friends with an inventor." Of course,
Right.
like you just like it was a possibility in our lives. So much so,
career choice.
But Jacob, so much so in this movie because they already have a character who's an inventor. The teen also has to go, I also know a scientist, which was also just like those were one in the same when you were a kid.
Well,
that was amazing.
Here's my theory why inventors used to be a big thing like in the 80s and 90s, right before sort of everything became digital, right?
Yes.
Back then, everything was analog. You can make little gadgets and stuff. Nowadays,
before the .com
gizmos.
boom. Yes.
Yeah. Little gizmos.
Little gizmos.
Right. Nowadays, it's like, everything's been invented already. Now everything's digital. So if you're going to invent something, it's going to be like an app or something. Like it's not going to be a physical thing.
Looks like a sleek iPhone. It's all white and contoured. That's how all products look now. But Jacob, when I was a kid, there was a chance I could go to my neighbor's house and he would be like, some guy sold me this juicer. It's like 6 feet tall. You'll never see it again. And it was like, what is it? And it was an invention. Like it was just crazy.
And a lot of times when you see these characters in media, it's like they're like a failed inventor. But they're whimsical.
Get rich
but
quick.
They're always making something that doesn't work, but they're trying. They're really trying.
The ambition of America.
Yeah, he's on the road at the start of the movie trying to sell his wares. He spends a lot of the rest of the movie like leading up to Christmas Eve. He's like goes back on the road. He's like a traveling salesman trying to get by. It was very I guess blue collar in a way. Trying to make these inventions, just kind of scrape by.
Well, Mike, this is a film about a kid who has an absentee father who comes and drops off a magic dog who, in the course of 2 days, gets him a girlfriend and destroys his town. That is the plot of the movie.
Gets several people killed.
The dad's job, being on the road all the time, hustling, trying to make money, it kind of feeds into the sort of the class themes of it all, the consumerism, the economic themes, where you have like this rich lady who's like turning people down for loans and stuff. You have Billy comes from a blue collar family. Judge Reinhold is like his boss, who's like this rich, snobby
yuppie guy.
Yeah.
25 years old. I'm already a partner, or whatever the hell. Yeah.
New money used to be horrifying. Old money used to run such a propaganda machine that they'd be like, the Beverly Hillbillies. Can you imagine if hillbillies got money? And it's like, I don't know. They'd be like everybody else, you fucking assholes.
Yeah. And now we have Duck Dynasty, so we've seen it come around.
Yes.
And then, Dick Miller's always ranting. Obviously, he's like an older generation guy, but he's like complaining about foreign cars and foreign products. And it's like, during the 80s, there's a big influx of, foreign made products, made in USA, like the audio industry, people be like destroying foreign cars and stuff in the street.
Yeah, it was a big fear.
It's a big theme. Yeah.
For a lot of people that like globalization was going to like ruin the economy because we were outsourcing jobs and outsourcing all this stuff.
And so how did it turn out, Jacob?
Well, I think
seems fine.
It wasn't a problem. It was fine.
I think it's generally a good thing overall because, it's good that countries communicate and participate in, economics together as a globe, as a world or whatever.
But maybe just capitalism in general doesn't work and it's all a ridiculous system.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And then the second movie kind of leans into that more.
Yeah.
But so there's a little bit of themes of that, and it's small town USA, and obviously, a later movie, you might recognize this town, Back to the Future is filmed in this exact same set, in the Universal backlot, which, unfortunately burned down.
Yeah.
It's Hill Valley.
But yeah, you get the Twin Pines, you got the courthouse, everything's there.
Yeah, that
So-
movie theater is right next to the clock tower, basically.
Yeah, and like they put the titles, the working titles for Close Encounters and E.T. on the marquee. So there's a lot of Easter eggs and throwbacks. There's a Dr. Moreau, because again, these guys are freaking nerds and they're making this movie together. So there's a lot of there's a Twilight Zone movie poster, all kinds of stuff like that.
Totally. There's a lot of homages and references. Like you said, the basic setup is very similar to It's a Wonderful Life, this kind of idyllic town, small town America. But I think this whole movie in part is sort of a love letter to cinema and TV. You know, obviously Gizmo's character, he loves watching TV. Like that's his main thing. And then at the end, Mr. Wing's like, you let him watch TV? Not good.
But he learns
No.
he's recalling the movie quotes to become the hero. And I guess we'll kind of get
becomes Rambo.
Yeah, in the second one, absolutely.
Yeah.
And before we get right into the plot, all gremlins, it seems, and you know, as soon as they're spawned and exist, they have an awareness of general pop culture. It just comes in their DNA.
They want to be us is essentially it's again replacement theory, right? Literally get out of the way. I'll go to the restaurants. We want to watch our movies. We want to be rowdy and different. And you know, us normal quote unquote people are like, oh, all these gremlins in here making all this noise.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I think they're a version of us. They're consumers taken to the excessive level. So when they go to the bar, that bar scene, they're
Incredible.
all drinking,
6
smoking
cigarettes at a
to
time.
excess, right?
I mean, they're playing cards. I mean,
They're having a great.
But how do you know how to play? I love it. I love that stuff in this movie. How it does get so goofy. They're doing Flashdance references. They know that out of the womb.
Right.
Guys,
And then, of course,
what is
yeah.
this cartoon?
They're watching Snow White. They're singing "Hi Ho, Hi Ho, Off to Work We Go."
But they're being
Yep.
kind of bawdy and dirty while they're watching.
Yeah.
You're like this corruption of puritanicalism. So
They're our id. I think I saw it described. They're pure
love that.
ego
they're
running
pure
around.
excess. Yeah. just
Yes,
whatever vice they have, they're gonna take it to the
Hashtag no filter.
extreme level. Yeah.
So a man in Chinatown is taken down into a shop by a boy and basically shown wonders. This guy says, I want something one of a kind. It's for my son. It's for Christmas. I'm not around much, basically. This would kind of make up for that.
Mhm.
No, we don't have anything for you here. He sees something one of a kind, a Mogwai. And he leaves that shop without getting it. But of course, he can't because he's offering sweet cash money. And that gets you anything in this world. So the grandson gives him this little Mogwai with the warning, here's 3 rules you got to know. Jacob went over that bad boy. Goes home, and we're introduced to our cast of Zach Galligan, who I said to you guys, I don't know from truly anything else, right?
No, just a sequel in this. Maybe a couple TV roles, but I don't know.
And a commercial where him and Gizmo love Mountain Dew, which we will talk about later.
Right.
Do you guys think Gizmo's like 50 in that commercial? But again, maybe he's 1,000.
Maybe
He could
Mogwai,
already be
no,
1,000,
aged
yeah.
soon.
Yeah,
Is that-
yeah,
yeah.
he does, he does.
You know what?
But he...
Well, I
yes.
just want to say, if they put the damn ET aliens in the Senate, they should have put some Mogwais in there.
Yeah.
That would have
Gremlin
made
planet.
sense to me, Mike.
Anyways,
Planet
go ahead.
Mogwai.
Yeah.
But he's given as a gift this wonderful thing. He replaces the dog, which always kind of really broke my heart as a kid. It really does seem like this new baby thing. But he's given something that I've thought about truly since I've watched this, which is a sentient little companion. I don't know why I'm obsessed with this idea of it. But guys, since I was a kid, I have wanted the monkey from Pirates of the Caribbean that, you know, interacts with stuff, or Gizmo the Mogwai, or like
Like a little
YA
buddy.
books. A little
Yeah.
buddy. Like, did you guys read
Yeah.
Peter Hatcher Dragon Peter Thatcher Dragon Hatcher when you were kids? Those
No.
YA books where you like get a little
A
dragon
little
and
familiar
stuff.
kind
I love
of.
that. How to Train Your
Exactly.
Dragon.
Playing D&D, having familiars and stuff. Now the ultimate, of course, I will say, of the little buddy,
Mm-hmm.
he's not a little buddy, but he breaks the trope, we'll say, and that's why I think he's the ultimate,
Mhm.
is Chewbacca, which is he is sort of your like
The family dog.
lifestyle companion animal who understands just you kind of, and you have like a symbiotic relationship. But obviously Chewbacca has agency, and I think we're supposed to believe is married and has a child. I'm not positive that's canon. We
Well,
might
stay
be
tuned.
talking about
Oh
this.
yeah, they might have to dive
Yeah.
into that. I thought you were going to
Well,
say
Colin,
Mac and
wouldn't
me.
you say
Yeah.
R2D2 is kind of also the little buddy of that movie?
Now, Jacob, I would say the little buddy trope has now evolved to droids I would say yes in that movie, but
BB-8.
now so much more BB-8 and what's that video game where you're Cal Kestis, where you
Jedi
get
Fallen Order.
now Jacob, that's a little buddy. Whatever that
It's
thing
on your
is,
shoulder,
that's a
yeah.
little buddy.
Yeah, that's your little guy.
It's just like a pet that's like more sentient than a cat or a dog that can
It's
Yeah.
it's if a cat could listen to you, which would truly be a remarkable thing.
and like
or
actually
a, you know-
empathize. Like dogs can, I guess. Yeah.
Yes,
Cats
a
choose
Racket
not to.
Raccoon, a Cosmo. We just saw all these great characters that James Gunn obviously plays with. I think he's someone who loves little buddies too.
I think a
But
Groot,
guys-
comes from this.
Groot
Line.
is an all-timer, and we just said maybe the highest-selling little buddy of all time now is Little Grogu, who
Yeah.
is a little buddy, right?
In no way, shape, or form a derivative of Gizmo in either.
Well, now Jacob has a theory. What was the number one 90s consumer?
Well, this is what struck me because I knew kind of what Gremlins looked like, but just seeing them again when I watched this movie, I was like, did you guys have Furbies when you were growing up? My sister had a Furby.
Yeah. Yeah,
the
you know
word
what?
one's so
Looks
bad.
so similar to the Gremlins design. I feel like there's some kind of copyright infringement going on there.
They gave him a beak so they didn't get sued. That's very, very
Yeah.
Mogwai energy.
But
yeah.
the ears,
The ears,
Mike,
the
the
eyes.
eyes.
Yeah.
And the
Just the
puppeteers.
beak and the fact that they don't have arms is literally the only thing where Joe Dante could be like, God damn it, I thought I could get a paycheck out of this.
And they were
Yeah.
selling, suction cup, Mogwais and stuff for a time. They had some
They
merchandising,
were
but
very, very
Surely
popular
they
then.
have made a talking gizmo. Surely
Oh, yeah.
Furby has licensed
I'm
a
sure.
real gizmo.
or
I would
rival
imagine.
company. Yeah, I think I remember that coming out in the mid to late 90s, maybe early 2000s. Like it came out after the cycle of the movie, but once talking kind of animatronic stuffs got cheaper, there was a gizmo.
They could talk to each other, Mike. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
oh
you could
yeah.
just have them look at each other and just leave them alone, and they would
Bleep,
just
blop, blue.
talk back and forth.
About as
And it would
sophisticated
remember
as
words
Sims.
like a parrot. You would teach it a word.
Yeah.
Hot tub. Bleep, blop, hot tub.
Which is similar to how Gizmo would talk,
Yes.
TV,
Yeah.
HBO,
Well,
He says that in the
Oh.
second movie. But anyway,
maybe
ears,
it's not
though-
good for him.
the ears is a trademark because the puppeteers said, we got these little guys and we needed distinguishing features to show the evolution, and ears are a good way to sell emotion if you don't have the
Wow.
sophisticated eye movements.
Oh,
You
that's a
tilt
good
them back
point.
when they're feeling timid, etc.
Yeah.
So the team, we should say, in 1980, who's creating this little guy, a little buddy, you might say, named Yoda, goes
Yep.
on to, of course, do the same animatronics for, I already said, a gross little buddy that I don't want to touch, named E.T.
Yep.
And then, of course, this puppet team is continuing. Mike, you can tell that they are just getting better and better and better. And God, can you imagine if we kept investing in this technology?
There's
yeah.
something about it. Like it's so charming to see just little guys on screen or little green puppets, and you might see a rod moving an arm
That
like, for
can
3
squeeze
frames.
you and do hydraulic things. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always going to be something more tangible and real about a puppet versus a CG little buddy, right?
They would have had Gremlins doing backflips off of chandeliers and crap if it was CG.
Yeah,
It'd have been
yeah.
stupid. And I love the practical effects in this, and they hold up really well. And like it's a slow burn before you even see a gremlin. So a credit to them for like executing it so well, because I don't think any of the effects show any datedness. Maybe one shot where they're
No.
walking down the street, it's like a little stop motion, but everything
No, it looks
great to
really
me.
good. Yeah. And that was another thing that struck me watching this. It's a deceiving movie in that you go in, you're like, all right, it's a Christmas movie, family friendly, it's got cute little things. And then about, almost halfway through the movie, maybe 45 minutes in, all of a sudden we're getting these monsters, these gremlins, we're getting violent scenes, we're getting craziness. And I just love this movie because it just devolves into insanity, right?
But like you said earlier, hard to market, because this is kind of the perfect movie to be like, are you about to be a teenager? Like, are you like 11? Like, you will love this.
Yeah, a little too violent for younger kids. And I think even some people took their kids to this originally and would walk out of the theaters because it was marketed more kid friendly than it ends up being. So there was some unhappy people walking out of theaters, right?
Yeah, and you see the poster. It looks like, got cute little fingies or little, you see Gizmo. Maybe they talk about the Gremlins in a trailer or whatever, but it's like you think you're gonna get this cute, oh, this is my childhood companion, little cute guy, and then there's blender and a microwave and all this,
Yeah.
crazy stuff. They kill two cops, Um, it's a
Yeah.
wild ride. And yeah, that's pretty much the way it goes. So Billy has his buddy Corey Feldman over. He spills some water. We get the bad guys. They trick him
You
into eating
idiot.
after midnight, and then they just run havoc on the town on Christmas Eve. And it's just a series of events going wrong as Billy tries to get Kate out of there, get his mom to safety. His dad's still out of town, and that's pretty much the plot. Billy just trying to gather his dog, circle up his people and try to stop the Gremlins. And there's just a lot of great scenes that happen. But the one that kicks it off, which is one of my favorites, and I think Jacob said too, is that kitchen scene to bring it back. What a sequence, Colin. How do you feel about the violence of this?
I truly watching it again, I felt like I was watching it for the first time. I was like, this is so visceral. It's so cool. It's so cruel. And when it ends with that skull in the fire, I'm just like, you can just imagine the glee Joe Dante had storyboarding this movie out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what do they call it when you show the gun at the act one of a
Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun. We have Chekhov's
Gotta
sword
use
when
it.
Billy comes home and it falls off the wall.
Yes.
And then his
Right.
dad has to hang it up again, and then he uses it. I remember, I
Yep.
forgot if he used it. I couldn't remember if it was a fire poker that he hit the gremlin with. I'm like, if they don't use that sword, I'm going to be so mad. And sure enough, Billy saves
Yeah,
his
big
mom.
swing.
Yeah, after a little Christmas tree scare, there's some good moments. He has a Zoid in the stocking when she cuts it open. There's a Zoid toy, one of the original Tommy Zoids. I was like, hell yeah, dude.
I feel like my brother pointed that out for me a few years ago, and I very much enjoyed it ever since.
That's very 1984, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible sequence. What other, any Havoc
Well,
scenes that stand out for you guys?
He meets Phoebe Cates, who let's just talk about for a minute. At this
Yeah.
point in time, we talked about Jenna Ortega being sort of quote unquote the it girl in the way that sort of like, it seems like now like Netflix decides like with Chess Show Girl, like
Mm-hmm.
you're the one who is popular this year. And it's like, okay. And we kind of all buy into it. Now, back in the day, that was achieved through slow-mo on VHSs, which was
Oh, yeah.
achieved when Phoebe Cates first appeared in a little movie called Fast Times at Ridgemont High. She
Yeah.
is, truly the crush of a generation. And
Yeah.
this film really cemented that too.
And she also kind of was playing more sort of more adult roles, or more, I don't even know the word, but in this she's playing more family friendly, where she's kind of like this innocent, just nice
Yes.
girl.
I was going to say bitch. It's not very nice. She played a lot of bitches in roles, but
Yeah.
yes, in this. But Jacob, we said this is your first time watching this movie. Now, you said you were aware of some cultural bits. What's a gremlin? What's the rules? But the key moment Phoebe Cates is, of course, involved with. Does that permeate the culture? Did you know the Santa story?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. And that was very interesting to me.
What is that
Yeah.
reaction, man, watching it for the first time?
Please,
was just-
yes.
It's very interesting. I don't know what to feel about it. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. She has this whole monologue where she's talking about, so obviously early in the movie she talks about she doesn't like Christmas. She doesn't,
Oh, I hate Christmas.
he's like, how can you
Which-
hate Christmas?
Let me say, seeing this again before her monologue, just there's one line when she's walking home with Billy that really got me. She's like, no, a lot of people are depressed during Christmas, While everyone else is opening up their presents, they're opening up their wrists. And I was like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
But not a lot of
It's
holiday movies bring
intense.
attention to the fact that there is a
Yes.
lot of depression and the suicide rates do
Yes.
spike. And you know what?
Right.
There's
We need
a
to be
reason
aware of
George
that.
Bailey jumps off a bridge on Christmas, guys.
Well,
Like,
that's-
it's yeah.
Yeah. And I was
Yeah.
getting the Wonderful Life vibes. I was
So
like,
she
how-
says she
what's
already
happening
doesn't
here?
like Christmas, but we don't know why.
Yes.
And then the whole plot comes to a halt.
And then she
Jacob.
says-
In the third act of the movie, they're trying to stop these gremlins. The whole plot comes to a
It's
halt.
an under
so that-
siege moment. Yeah, everybody's getting
Yeah.
attacked.
Mm-hmm.
so that Phoebe
Red
Cates
Dawn.
can explain that her dad used to dress up as Santa, and he would go down the chimney and deliver presents. But one time there was an accident. Well, they didn't know what happened to him. They hadn't heard it from him, but there's the smell coming from the chimney, and
Dink.
the fire people come out, and they're expecting them to pull out a dead raccoon or something. Instead, they pull out her dad. He fell in the chimney and broke his neck and died.
And he was there for 5 days
Yeah.
before they
We
even
had to
got him
pull him
out.
out. And then I
Now,
opened my presents.
I was
And
aware
she
of
is
this.
Well, the line
What-
that ends it.
describe how she is giving it to.
Well, just very,
Dead-eyed.
yeah.
She's
very
playing
strange.
it very straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's like such a ridiculous scenario. Who would actually slide down a chimney? But
The
she's playing
most
it so straight.
over the top story
You don't
you've
know if it's a
ever
joke.
heard.
And she's
Yeah.
almost going to cry. And she delivers that line. And that's how I learned there was no Santa Claus. And I'm like, oh my God. But I love this
That's how
about
I
this
learned.
movie.
I mean, that's the
just kind of,
punchline.
Joe Dante's like sense of humor, right? Coming out. where it's
Yes.
just like, we're going to have this bit in here for no reason, really. But, I was aware of the story as a sort of a rumor going around, or like a
Cultural
Weird
myth.
pop
tale.
culture
Yes.
thing, an urban
Now,
legend almost.
I
Urban
would
legend,
say
that's what I was-
by the time we were kids, it was an urban legend, but that wasn't happening. Our parents weren't dressing like Santa to like surprise us, right? I would say we might have been the last generation that went to the mall to sit on a dude, because they definitely don't do that shit anymore.
No.
Some families take pictures of like their toddlers and stuff, but I don't think young kids these days. I wouldn't know. I
But
don't
there's
have
no
kids,
malls anymore. Where would they
That's
go?
true, yeah.
But... Oh yeah. I mean, there's some malls, but not as many. Not as many as were in the 80s.
There's like outdoor pavilions, Mike, where you would like rent a 10 to 12 window for an Instagram event. And it's like, I'm not, in the time of COVID too, it's like, I'm not letting anybody who's not in my immediate circle touch my fucking baby. There's
Right.
something about like Catholicism and Santa where I'm like, I don't want a priest touching my kid or Santa, basically.
We're gonna avoid both
Yeah.
of these things.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but definitely my dad was not dressing as Santa and
No.
actually going down the chimney.
Yes.
No,
Why
like
would you
that.
do that?
They would eat the cookie or write a note. Thanks for the cookie, Santa.
Yes.
Something
we
like
leave out,
that.
Yeah, leave out the
My-
cookies. Next morning has a
Yes.
bite out of it.
Yeah.
My dad would tell the story of an uncle or a family friend would dress up as Santa and all the kids would be surprised for like one night, like one family event. They do not do that shit anymore.
No. I think I wouldn't know. Hey, if your child, stop listening, earmuffs. Like, I don't know how long kids buy it now with the
Yeah,
internet.
I don't
Shit's
know,
getting spoiled
man.
on TikTok, I'm sure. Did you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's
I
gotta
think
suck.
most kids figure out by 11 or 12 maybe.
Yeah.
You got the elf on the shelf now. That's a thing. We don't
Mm-hmm.
even need Santa anymore. We got the elf on the shelf.
Hey, did
Gremlins
I
are
tell
kind of
my
twisted
story?
elves. you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're little helpers. Did I tell
Yeah.
my no Santa story on here?
No.
No, is it like a really tragic story?
I'm
about
gonna
your
go
background?
real quick. My
BB
dad
Kate's
was
on
in
us?
a chimney skid. No, so I was probably my parents were divorced, so I was older than 7, but it was like maybe 8 or 9 years old, maybe a little too young to the age group Jacob just said.
Mm-hmm.
My dad takes me to the park. I'd gotten a model rocket. I wanted to launch it off. Hey, and he's very insistent. Let's go launch that one that you got for Christmas. Come on, let's go do it. Let's go do it. I was like, yeah, that's okay. That sounds great.
Yep.
Put together, you put the model rocket down. We're both looking up. I shoot it off. I go, wow, it shoots up in the air. He puts his arm around me and goes, hey, there's no Santa Claus, right? I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, there isn't one. And I said, oh.
Why?
And I thought for a beat and I said, the Easter Bunny? And he said, none of that shit.
wow.
That was his response.
He just broke it to you.
I've
Straight out.
asked him since. I was like, why did you feel the need? He's like, I don't know why. I just felt like I just had to get it done.
I had to
Did
get it off my
you-
chest.
Did you believe in the tooth fairy as a kid, where you'd
Yes.
be putting?
So I think all
tooth
that
under
was
the
the
pillow?
moment where he was like, none of it, dude. All of it's done. So
I think at a certain point I knew the tooth fairy wasn't
Yeah.
real, but I still wanted that money, so I was just putting.
Oh
the
yeah, you
tooth
play
in
into
every
it.
time.
Yeah.
I'll play
Yeah.
the hustle. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know my mom's coming down and sneaking a 5 or whatever in there.
Are you,
Uh-huh.
would you guys be honest about it or would you just keep doing the Santa thing?
If they asked me, I'd be honest. But I would try to do my best to keep the wonder of childhood alive. For
You
a little
kind of
bit.
culturally
Yeah.
have to because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
It's just good for the
It's the-
spirit of Christmas.
All parents
Yeah.
are in on it. It's the biggest conspiracy for 10-year-olds or under.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
You know.
truly
I can't
is.
even
Mike.
remember. I can't remember like the specific moment when I stopped believing in Santa Claus. I guess
You have older siblings. They did not blow it for you.
no.
My older cousins blew it for me, but
Hmm.
that's a story for another time. But maybe it's look at this rocket, the wonder of science and all that is real. But that other stuff is not.
It was a 2001 moment. It was the bone flying through the air for him.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Now, Mike, would you come down the chimney for your kids?
Never. You can't even
First of all,
fit in a
what
chimney. What the
houses
hell?
these days have chimneys? First
Yeah,
of all.
my apartment. I'll come in from outside.
Yeah.
The air
Hey,
conditioner
hey.
vent through which the cigarette smoke creeps in as well. Yeah, another sinister invader, like a
Yeah.
gremlin. But so you get that dark turn in Phoebe Cates, and that's one of the things that they wanted to cut out of the movie. Obviously, everyone thinks it is dark. I think Joe Dante thought it was a joke, but she plays it so sincere. You know, I love
Yeah.
these scenes about this movie. You know, and Mrs. Deagle, for instance, also says some dark shit about how she wants
yeah.
to put Billy's dog in the spin cycle on high heat, and then the guy next to her is like, "Oh, that'd do it all right."
Well,
But
and then
I was
when
so
she's
pissed off.
flying through the air at the end.
Yeah. But I was so mad when she described the spin cycle on high heat, and then the wife doesn't put a gremlin in the spin cycle on high heat. I'm like,
Yes, that would have been funny.
That'd do it all right. Like, oh, you had it, but maybe they filmed it
Yeah.
without cut. But
The
yeah,
rich
she
old
gets their just
lady-
dessert.
Or just effects. I mean, that
It's
might have just been
so-
impossible for them.
Could have been, but Mrs.
Yeah.
Potter, as it would be.
Yes.
In a,
Mrs. Potter, she's so over the top where she's like, that fucking dog, I'm gonna murder that thing.
Destroy
like,
this
whoa.
town.
And
I'll
then we find
catch
out that
him.
she's like a cat person. She's got all these cats, but she hates dogs.
yeah.
Now, there was originally a plot where it turned out that she was like swindling loans from the entire town. But
That's what
they
I
were
thought
like,
it was gonna go.
There's
No,
a
we don't need
deleted
any of that.
scene. Her
Yeah.
and the bank, they work at a bank, and
Yeah.
her and the head
Again,
banker are
why?
trying to foreclose on people because it's Wonderful
Yeah.
Life, you know?
I could tell some things were cut out in terms of like they kind of restructured it before releasing it because the Judge Reinhold character, he's like in the beginning and then he
Yes.
just
Mhm.
disappears.
Yes.
And the
they're
lady, I
fast
thought
time.
she was gonna play into
Yeah.
it more, into the plot more, and I was like, I thought they were doing a It's a Wonderful Life thing
Right.
where she was gonna maybe have a change of heart at the end or something.
Oh,
was gonna
you
happen.
saved me from those mean little gremlins.
Yeah, but no, she just flies off her
No, fuck you,
chair
Grandma.
thing and dies. I
Yeah.
guess.
Which is
Hell
one
yeah.
of the funniest sequences to me, like those little chair lifts and they mess with
I
electronics.
mean,
Yeah.
Mike, do you remember being a kid and seeing those? Who didn't have that dream of being like, what if you like fucking turn that thing all the way up? I wonder.
Yeah.
And, like Joe Dante's like a 5-year-old kid who's like, yeah, let's put it in the movie.
And then
Yeah.
they film it so that it looks like it goes up 6 flights of stairs. Like it just keeps going and going, and you know, it's great. It's a lot of fun, you know.
And I do
Uh-oh.
like how the Gremlins live up to their name by messing around with electronics and stuff, and that's where
Technology.
that's
Yep.
Mr. Futterman calls them the Gremlins for the first time because of he was in WWII, right?
The big
And,
one.
the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn
Dick Miller,
foreigners.
just one of the greatest 50s actors of all time, basically was like the star and like reason that B movies got made. That's why all these guys like Joe Dante were obsessed with him. Obviously, he was in The Howling, the previous film Mike
Mhm.
mentioned as well, where he plays an incredible character too. And then later we get Mike from Breaking Bad shooting up a bunch of gremlins. I thought that was pretty cool as the sheriff or whatever. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
wow.
But that was Mike from Breaking Bad.
He's
Yeah,
a deputy.
yeah, with some hair.
I didn't even notice that.
He
That's
looks a lot
crazy.
different when he's younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to think that Dick Miller, he's got to be the prototype for Burt Gummer in Tremors.
Yes.
Like that kind of
Sure.
guy, this right wing
He's
kind of
just
nut
prepared.
guy. Yeah. Who's like, I knew it was Gremlins. Yeah.
If you're talking about great character actors and stuff, just to mention really quickly, Gremlins
Mhm.
2, the new batch.
Oh,
Robert Picardo, Christopher Lee, Robert
Dick Miller again.
Protsky.
Robert
Yeah,
Protsky. Yeah.
yep.
crazy loaded cast. I know Robert Picardo was in The Howling 2, I think, right? Not The Howling 2, but The Howling.
Harry
also.
Balea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
course,
so there's
Hulk
a lot of
Hogan.
good ones. But you can't watch
Yes.
that on Christmas. I guess you can.
No,
But
no.
these guys, you know, they work together frequently, you know, the collaborative partners within kind of the
Mhm.
Spielberg. I mean, Corey Feldman would go on to be in the Goonies after
Oh, yeah.
Spielberg saw him in this, you know, and,
Right.
you know, there's inventors in that. You know, you got Data. He's inventing shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, Mike. It's,
Yeah.
it's every movie.
And they have a
Yeah.
big little guy with Chunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chunk is a big little guy.
He's a big little guy, like
little buddy.
Chewbacca.
He's a big buddy.
Yeah. So
I
you
was gonna
get all
say,
that.
I get Goonies vibes from this. I get Back to the Future vibes, ET vibes. It's kind of every 80s movie combined into one almost.
Yeah.
If Michael J. Fox was in this instead of Zach Galligan, it would have been incredible.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
still
I was reading a little bit
Yeah.
about when they cast him, they're like, he was an unknown guy, but he read with Phoebe Cates, and the casting director was like, "Oh, he's in love with her already. We should cast him because he's just already in love with her." So
Shocking.
it's just their chemistry works so well that he's like,
Yeah, anybody you put in the room.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that chemistry works well. I will say his chemistry with his dad when he's reading the rules and it could have essentially panned over to a mannequin head listening to them. Zach Galligan is so lifeless. He's just sort of
Yeah.
like nodding very slowly. Yes, no light. Yes, yes.
I do think the scenes with him and Phoebe Cates, when they're outside of her door and it's like, would you, want to get dinner? Like that's very cute. I do think there's some chemistry there, and
Yeah.
but he did look like a mannequin when his dad.
You're up
and
on
his,
Thursdays?
yeah, he's he's the hometown every man kind of guy where he's just like comes from a blue collar family, just a nice guy or whatever, just trying
He's
to
an
live his life.
artist. He wants
Hey,
to
and if I was
draw.
in 2 movies and there were Gremlins and Gremlins 2, I'd never shut up about it.
Dog. And Hoyt Axton, who plays the father, Randall Peltzer, the way he does that, Chinatown
Taylor.
monologue, literally and figuratively in the beginning.
Yeah.
And he just reads he's just so natural. I think he's great. And even when he's just on the phone,
He's
and there's
great.
like a
Would you
robot
have
behind
bought
him
any
selling
of the
oil.
things he invented,
The
though?
inventor
No.
convention.
They
Yeah.
never work. Yeah.
The inventor convention.
Hoyt Axton, he was like a musician, like singer-songwriter, doing like country and western music for a long time.
Sure.
He comes from like a music family. Like his mom was a songwriter too for like Elvis and stuff. I was reading all this earlier,
kidding.
but yeah, and he unfortunately died at in the 90s, like at age 61. So
Oh, I mean, he's got a
R.I.P.
John Candy body type.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
not shocking.
yeah, but he's great as just this failed inventor trying to make a living for his family.
Well, I even like when there's like little moments in this movie, and I've seen it so many times that I'm now able to kind of dissect it. So when Billy's trying to explain, hey, there's something wrong with the Gremlins. There's like a bunch of them now, a bunch of Mogwais, and then his dad's like, oh, hey, check out this invention. I'm like, he's so excited,
Yeah.
he keeps interrupting his son, and then Billy just can't like, I don't know, he's so excited, I can't tell him about this problem. I'm
Yeah.
having,
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
When I like Billy and the mom, how supportive they are of the father, where the mom is just like really trying to use the inventions and they never work right, but she lies to him on the phone and is like, oh yeah, I was just out of range or whatever, it wasn't working. But like they're
Mhm.
really trying to they're trying to
They
be
work
nice
for
to
the
him.
first few weeks, but but yeah, they're trying to be supportive of him. He's clearly
Yeah.
like a loving father. He's just busting his
Yeah.
ass to make ends meet,
Yeah, it's the absentee thing. And again, to go back to the complexities for teen and children characters, you think about Henry Thomas's parents getting divorced in E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Yep.
And it's like, is that what that film's about? No, it is, yes.
Yeah.
And again, is this film about Zach Galligan having a bad relationship with his dad? No. Yes, it is. It's about this thing he unloads on him. So it's just when people are like, why do these movies persevere? Why are people still obsessed with them? This sort of like Amblin Spielberg effect, these sort of like captured the moments of middle America, these dreams. Well, I'll tell you why. Because I'm watching this in my tiny apartment in California being like, wow, a guy who called himself an inventor owns a home and like has like
Yeah.
a wife and a kid.
Right,
And like
yeah.
he can just like he's living his life and he's not worried that like Ukraine's gonna get hit by a nuclear bomb. That's
No,
pretty cool.
He can drop $200 on a random gift shop in Chinatown. I
Yeah.
can't drop $200
Yeah.
anywhere. Come
Yeah.
on.
It's like it
Jesus
kinda
Christ,
hints
are you
that they're,
kidding?
like-
No.
Yeah.
They're not rich or anything, but they're struggling, but they, like you said, they still have a nice house and food on the table and stuff.
Right. And
They
if I
live in
must-
white picket fence America.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
middle America, the nuclear family, as it were, right? But in the deleted scene, there is like, a little plot point of like, oh man, like your house is on the list, and your house, and the bar, and like, Phoebe Cates and
The
Billy.
80s is coming.
They discover like, oh shit, they're gonna sell all of our
Can't be the
houses.
50s forever.
And again, the new batch kind
Yep.
of goes into that a little as
Yes.
well. But yeah.
Wall Street.
Yeah, so some of that's going on here.
Wall Street Gremlins Never Sleep. That's my sequel.
Well, here's the thing, and this is Red Letter Media. So the first movie, small town America gets taken over by Gremlins. Second movie, corporate tower, New York, yuppies taken over by Gremlins. Then Rich Evans said, I want Gremlins in the White House, where they're like signing bills and shit. It would be so good.
Trump gets a gremlin.
Because
it's
Clamp-
fine. His name's Stripe. He's a good boy.
Yeah, not to do too much Gremlins here, but there's a lot of Trump with Clamp as this corporate guy who's full of himself, right? And then it's like, what if
Yeah.
Clamp became president and then the Gremlins take over the White House? Like, it'd be
Not
incredible.
Fascinating thing about the new batch for me was that Clamp, he wasn't really a bad guy. Like, he was very understanding at the end. Like, yeah, Billy, I'm gonna buy your shit. Like, I'm gonna buy your design and everything. Like, he was just like excited about everything.
He was going to
I was
exploit
like-
it, but he was like, hell yeah.
He was like super
Absolutely.
positive about everything. I was like, that's an interesting way to portray the rich, developer character.
Now,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it worth checking or just mentioning if our listeners haven't seen it? The, of course, Key and Peele classic skit. How did we get Gremlins 2? Surely you guys have seen that skit.
That comes
No, I
up a lot
haven't
on my
seen that.
YouTube searches for
I gotta check that out.
related
Jacob,
materials.
as a Heather Ann Campbell fan, you haven't seen that. She was, of course, part of the original UCB cast that performed that when Jordan Peele was a guest resident at Upright Citizens Brigade, where he wrote that skit and then invited the entire cast to star in the Key and Peele skit, where he plays a extremely flamboyant 80s character who walks around and says, everybody gets to choose a gremlin. What do you choose? Spider gremlin? It's in the movie. Electric gremlin? It's in the movie.
Yeah.
Metal gremlin? It's in the movie.
That's amazing. That does kind of feel like how they made that movie, where it's just like, if you thought Gremlins gets insane, man, New
Yeah.
Batch is just
So-
like an actual
and-
cartoon. Yeah.
So we're going on. That's the future. Not to say that we're winding down from it, but we're gonna get this cartoon thing, which is a prequel. What's up with the Gremlins universe? Why has it taken so long? Obviously, Chris Columbus has never gone on to really like write more. Mike mentioned it. He's a huge director. We've certainly talked about him a ton when we did our Harry Potter series.
Like some Pirates too, a ton of shit.
I don't understand, because surely it's a cash cow for him that he sees like, I would love if there was more Gremlin stuff going. Is it the Spielberg producer thing where it seems like he kind of has these overarching deals where he lets these creatives like Bob Zemeckis go like, you can't touch Back to the Future without talking to me, but really that's kind of Spielberg's protection. You have to talk to him, but he's giving the permission to me. Is Spielberg doing that sort of umbrellaing for Gremlins? Like, I'm sure Joe Dante would like a paycheck too. I don't understand what's stopping any of this. They've just never cracked the story.
Yeah, I don't know.
I honestly, like, after 2, besides Gremlins in the White House, I don't know what you would do. Because 2 is a
Yeah,
really
2
great
doesn't
sequel.
really- It's a great sequel,
But it's
doesn't
like
really
an
have a plot.
anti-sequel. Like,
Yeah, it's
Joe
just like
Dante
the
wanted
Gremlins
it
get
to be.
loose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a parody.
You hear those stories though, where like Mario Puzo, the writer of The Godfather, like their literary agent would be like, "Just write The Godfather 2," and he'd be like, "Ugh, I don't want to write The Godfather 2." And they'd be like, "No, write The Godfather 2," and he would turn in a treatment that was purposely so bad. They're like, "Oh, never mind, you're not gonna do Godfather 2." And you wonder if Joe Dante kind of poisoned the well by being like, "You want Gremlins 2? Oh, I'll show you fucking Gremlins 2, you motherfuckers." And now, like, production people are like, "Oh, well, Gremlins 3 would be even crazier," and the world couldn't handle that.
Yeah, they probably couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for sure, that Joe Dante said, I'm only doing Gremlins 2 if you give me complete creative control. And they did. So he's like, I'm going to just do this whole thing that's about consumerism, capitalism, sequels. It's like self-referential. It's breaking the fourth wall. They
doing all
switched to
kinds of
Rick
stuff.
Baker to do the
Yeah.
Gremlins, and he did want to have more character in them. So the second movie, I guess, has electric Gremlins,
More
like you
individual
said.
Gremlins.
Brainy
But-
Gremlin.
I prefer the Gremlins in the original movie as much as I like 2. I like these scary little guys more than
Yeah.
the goofier take. But I
I'm a
adore
one
the
and
second
doneer.
movie. But
Yeah.
1 is superior to me.
2's funny.
Yeah.
But let's talk about how we save the day then before we kind of get to the final thoughts here. We got the Gremlins are on a rampage. We have Phoebe Cates
Well-
making us very sad, right?
I wanted to mention my
Go ahead.
favorite scene in this whole movie,
Please.
the bar room scene. I thought that whole
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the
scene is
greatest.
just
This
classic.
deserves-
So many cutaways. There's the guy smoking in the corner, drinking whiskey with like the hat, listening to jazz and stuff. You got, like you said, the Flash dance reference, and
Oh my
just
God.
all the There's
the
a
trench coat
flasher
flasher
gremlin.
guy.
It's like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Phoebe Cates is trying to light cigarettes for him. She discovers
I
they
like
don't
how
like
they're
the
like-
match.
She's just putting
Yeah.
up with it. She's like, she knows she has to like work.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like their agreement is like, all right, we won't kill you if you
Yeah.
like bartend for us and like
Yeah.
light our cigarettes and stuff.
There's a social contract happening. Yeah.
Yes.
It's wild.
That whole
Consume.
scene is just great. And
But then
and
there's
you
a
know
guy
what?
who
I
just
think
straight up has a
Gremlins-
gun and is about
Yeah.
to shoot her.
Yeah.
It's
And
great.
first of all, I want to know where they got little gremlin guns, and where Spike gets his little gremlin crossbow.
Spike.
Stripe? Yeah.
Stripe.
That's yeah.
But
Legally distinct character. Stripe
right.
I
and
want to
Spike.
say Gremlins, to me, they're the heroes of this movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
Destroy
saw
the town.
Gremlins, and I would love to hang out with them. They seem like they're having a great time at that bar.
I guess
Not
when,
really.
like,
They kill
Friday
Santa.
night.
There's not too many people they sort of body, but they do get a couple people.
they kill
Yeah.
Santa and the police do literally nothing.
He
and
just
then
says,
they
"That's
kill
that
two
guy who
police
dresses like
officers."
Santa. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what is he doing? And they just roll up the window
What's that
slowly and they're like,
stuff
we
on
should
him?
get out of
Yeah.
here.
Hey,
Yeah,
stop
they're
that.
really bad at their job.
Yep.
Later, when
Uh,
that cop is interviewing Gizmo, basically, he is looking at him in a way where I was like, yeah, that's an appropriate reaction.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing is when Hoyt Axton first meets the creatures, no one treats it like this amazing thing. Like that's a new animal that we've never seen before. It's not really similar
Yeah.
to any other animal.
The one person who nails it though is Corey Feldman, who literally
Oh.
does the kid thing of like, "Hi Gizmo," and he like pats his head and like shakes his hand. I was like,
He's like
that's
blinking
great.
at him and stuff.
Yeah.
He sells that. That's how
Yes,
he got
he-
Goonies.
Yes, agreed.
Hmm.
He's the one that spills water on. Gizmo
Yeah, he
in part
fucks it
two,
up.
I think.
Little
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
idiot.
Like Goonie head ass.
Can I
Yeah,
have
that-
one since you got a couple more? I don't know.
Right. But that bar sequence is great. There's a lot of references and just
Yes.
crazy shit going on. But we do eventually get, Spike jumps in a pool at one point, holding his nose, and he
When
makes
you
a
were
shit ton of
saying-
Gremlins, all that.
Bad effects earlier, Mike. The jump in looks good. There's a moment where he's sort of like sideways, where you could tell me they're holding the puppet by the legs, just sort of like putting it in the water because it's sort of like motionless, sort of just like spinning. Where I'm like, I don't know about this.
This had no moving parts. It's just being
Yes.
lowered.
Yeah, and then it's like, submerge it. Exactly. That's one we
Sure.
can afford to lose.
15
I guarantee
frames.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's charming. So we end up with a ton of Gremlins. That's how they end up going to the bar. They all do end up in the
Over the
movie theater, as
town.
we said. They want to watch
Yeah.
Snow White. They love it. So they concoct a plan to blow up the whole movie theater.
They love consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. And to get a Disney movie, to get the rights, there's a lot of movies in this movie,
Yeah.
to be fair. So to actually get a Disney classic in this horrible little monster.
Well, I'm sure you
Nightmare.
guys caught the reference when there's an ET reference when he says like phone home, right?
Oh, yeah. Phone home caca. And he pulls the phone line. But the only
Yeah.
one who escapes is Stripe once they blow up the movie theater. And then we have a little department store showdown,
He's
which
out
is
there
fun.
candy.
Well, hold on, Mike. We also get Zach Galligan's line. That's Stripe. He's the leader.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know about that, but okay.
Is that 80
Yeah.
yard? Did they have from the back of his head?
It feels like later they're like, one of these guys needs to be in charge.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's the one with the distinctive mohawk,
Yes.
of course. He's
Mhm.
out in the concessions getting candy because he wants some yum yums.
Some yum yum. Yeah.
That's right. He turns to the other guy and goes, yum yums.
I think yum yum is the plural in Gremlin. There's no S's. Just yum yum
That's
is
right.
the singular
Yum,
and plural.
Yum,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll eat anything. They'll eat glass. They'll eat chemicals.
They don't
from
like
test
lettuce.
tubes. No.
Yeah, they will drink chemicals. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love it. They love it. So he's getting yum yum at the department store, and then we have our pursuit. There's a lot of fun moments here. It escalates. It's like a baseball gun, then a crossbow, then a chainsaw. But he's messing with the TVs and the radio at first. It's like a neat
Yeah,
little
he's
sequence.
Chainsawing. Zach Galligan is holding this bat, a wooden bat, right? And Stripe is just chainsawing, trying to murder this guy. And then Gizmo kind of saves the day, right?
Yes.
Yep, because he watched a movie about racing cars, and a certain kind of guy needs a certain kind of dame, and something else like that. He's thinking of the movie quote.
Yeah, he loves pop culture. And that's really the lesson from all this is that we should all be watching more pop culture.
And imitating it in real life.
Oh, had
Yeah.
you let him watch TV? Do you guys
Yeah.
remember the Scooby-Doo movie with the Matthew Lillard one? Kind of ends with like the reveal that there's sort of these like giant rabbit monsters inside like everybody. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Was that the
They-
first one or the sequel?
The first one. They kind of look like big gremlins. I'm
Mm.
seeing in my mind now truly just the range of effect these guys had.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
But we do, yeah. So Gizmo saves the day thanks to pop culture references.
Hooray.
I guess originally Billy was gonna pull the string. So when the premiere came out, because they restructured the end of the movie because they hadn't decided to make Gizmo the hero till like partway through filming. So that's why he spends a lot of time in a backpack. It doesn't read to me like that when I watch it now, but if you think about it,
No. Yeah.
it's
In comparison, if you watch the new batch,
Yeah.
Gizmo's in it a lot more.
Gizmo is technically the lead of the new batch.
yeah. He gets top billing, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. Zach Galligan reads that. He's like, "What?
Yeah, so Zach
You're
Galligan
giving it to
didn't.
Gizmo?"
I mean, he had no idea at the premiere
Howie
that he
Mandel.
didn't kill Stripe. He watched it for the first time at the premiere. and was like,
wow.
"Oh,
That's right.
I guess I got
They gave
upstaged by
And
birth
what-
Gizmo."
to a
But
little
and
guy.
what is your
A
guys'
little
relationship
guy.
to Howie Mandel? His stand-up. Did you ever see the
Not
movie
really.
Little Monsters?
I saw Little Monsters.
no.
I've
once.
never seen Little Monsters. I've never seen his stand-up before. I never watched You Make a Deal or
Deal or
whatever
No
that's
Deal.
called.
Deal
Deal
or
or
No
No
Deal.
Deal. Yeah. The
Well, here's
Pyramid or
my-
whatever that was. Yeah.
I'll drop this fun fact now, and maybe Mike, you might know this, or you guys both
Mhm.
might know this. So obviously, Howie Mandel, voice of Gizmo, Frank Welker, voice of Stripe.
Oh,
But did you know who does the other Gremlins? It's basically two people, and you know both of them.
Huh.
so Frank Welker, Megatron, we should say, we covered before, and Howie
Right.
Mandel as Gizmo. Boy, who does the other Gremlins? I don't know.
I'll tell you,
Hmm.
unless you want to guess or something.
No,
Do we
please.
can we have an associated film property or something? TV show?
Yeah,
Is that
it
too
might
much of a
give it
clue?
away a little bit, but
Mhm.
well, I'll say Police Academy.
Oh, Steve Gutenberg?
No, Michael Winslow.
Oh, the bleeps and
sound
the
effect
bloops.
guy. Yeah,
God.
Michael Winslow.
Spaceballs himself, Michael
That's incredible.
Winslow.
And
He
then
does like he's like making like them like making little noises. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's
He's
crazy.
basically a comedian / actor who's famous for sound effects. If you don't know who Michael Winslow is, Police Academy, Spaceballs.
Mhm.
He would just be a guy who would come in and be like, "Boop, boop, boop, boop," and just
Yeah,
make weird
he was-
noises. So he was one.
Wow.
The other one. So we had Frank Welker as Stripe. It's Peter Cullen.
Oh, I was okay. It's got to be Optimus
Wow.
Prime, of
Optimus
course. It's got to
Prime.
be Peter Cullen. These
So-
guys are just getting each other jobs.
I
Yeah.
want no Transformers autographs. I want Gremlins autographs instead.
Yeah.
Well, you remember when Stripe turns and says Megatron?
Yeah, and then that
If
other
you
one
listen
that
to Stripe, yeah, it does. I get the Megatron vibes from it because it's like,
I still
Welker.
function.
now I
he's
wish he
got
had a
that,
little
of course.
Starscream gremlin that was his
Crazy
lackey.
noise. Oh my God, Mike. Starscream, a little buddy, of course. No,
Yeah.
Bumblebee, a little buddy.
Yeah.
We should say. Yeah.
mhm.
But yeah,
But I
the
thought that was cool. Yeah.
that is cool. Yeah, there's so much of little throwbacks and like references to other filmmakers, and like this is tied to so many different things because of kind of the company that it keeps with the people behind the
Totally.
scenes and in front of the camera. It's
Spielberg. Yeah. Like I said, I think it's a love letter to cinema and pop culture and
Yep.
all the things that Spielberg and Dante are interested in.
It's
Yeah,
a
and-
classic. We don't do too much Spielberg on this. We obviously did the Jaws films
Mhm.
and talked a lot about that first one in particular. But I'm kind of proud of us for always kind of circling the universe without going to the obvious choice. And this, again, it's like, I bet other podcasts have talked to E.T. to death. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, dudes, it's the holidays. I want to talk Gremlins. And I'm fucking glad Jacob
Right.
finally saw this movie.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad too. I'm glad you guys recommended it. And Colin, I got some bad news for you. Next week we're
Oh,
doing
no.
the Fablemans. So get
Oh no.
yeah.
No, but so get to the ending and a little wrap up here. That we Mr. Wing shows up and he says, "You guys, you're not responsible with this Mogwai. I'm
You're
taking
not
it back."
ready to handle this.
And it
Yeah.
is interesting that it's the grandson who takes the money. The grandson who's
Yes.
more commercialized, right? Like, oh, I want the cash.
Well,
But he
Speaks with
comes.
an English accent. He's Americanized, quote unquote.
Yeah. New York.
But he
Yankees hat.
knows like his grandfather's store, like, he's not doing great business. And we see in the sequel, like, he's going out of business.
Yeah.
But the grandfather knows, like, oh, these white people, they're not ready for Mogwais. But
Yeah.
the grandson's like, hey, money,
Take
might
that
keep
cash.
the store afloat a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, I want to shout out Mr. Wing here. He's played by Key Luke, who's a pretty famous actor back in the day, especially a lot of early, like Chinese characters. Someone had to do some of those roles, even if they're not the greatest. But he was kind of breaking through. He did a lot of poster work. He was the original Green Hornet. He was Kato in that series.
What?
He did the voice dub of the bad guy from Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. He did the American dub for that. He's done a ton of stuff, and he was even in an original Star Trek episode, season 3, called "Whom the Gods Destroy." And a very fun fact: he was supposed to be Dr. Noonien Soong in the episode Brothers.
You're fucking kidding.
But he was ill and unable to do it, which is why Noonien Soong looks like Data, because they had to call an audible.
My
but it was
God.
supposed to be our good friend Key Luke,
Wow.
Mr. Wing.
I thought it was always just because
Right.
he modeled Data after himself. That's why.
Yeah.
Everything
Brett
that
Spiner.
ideated from that
Wow.
would not exist.
Wow.
Which means he wouldn't have the same Star Trek Picard.
Yeah.
No,
And speaking of Star Trek,
Mhm.
just want to mention the other reference. Obviously, you have the music, Jerry Goldsmith.
Yes,
Great
that's another
score.
MVP.
And Jerry Goldsmith, famous for doing Next Generation theme and Voyager theme and Deep Space Nine theme, like all all this great Star Trek music, bunch of other stuff, obviously. And then of course the other connection, Robert Picardo, of course, from Voyager. in
Yeah,
the new
from
batch.
Gremlins too.
Amazing.
But I think that soundtrack the Goldsmith did, I love. It's called the Gremlins Rag. I love the
It's so catchy.
theme
Yeah.
song for this.
It's
It's incredible. It's my
Yeah.
favorite Christmas song, probably besides Mariah.
You
And here's
just
what I
know
wonder.
truly someone is being naughty if you are hearing it.
Yeah. It's,
I mean,
it's a song
and-
for some shenanigans to be happening. Yeah.
Even the Gizmo theme, that little, banana,
That's
that
what
he-
I'm wondering. Did he write that as well? Gizmo's little melody.
Dave, I turned to you
Yeah.
and said, "You want to get up to some shenanigans?" and hit play, and that song started playing. You'd be
Meet me
like,
at the bar
"Hell
with 6
yeah."
cigarettes in your mouth, brother.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
fucking go.
Let's
Let's
go.
eat after midnight.
Gotta get my trench coat.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that the score in this is really memorable, and like they work it in with tact. Like they'll bring themes in and out, like you would hear in like a John Williams or Star Wars. Like they'll allude to it. They don't just go full hog, and they'll bring in stems of it here and there. It's like two really memorable, I think, kind of
Yeah.
themes. So I don't know.
Totally.
I just think that deserves recognition. So thanks for shouting out the
Jerry
soundtrack on
Goldsmith,
this.
great composer, and I'm surprised they didn't even just go to John Williams with, but
Yeah,
with his connections to Spielberg and everything.
you would think. Maybe
Yep.
too busy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think that's a pretty good discussion on Gremlins. Let's go ahead and run over to final thoughts. Head out of this inventors convention and get back home.
I gotta get home. I'm turning down the money. My kids are more important.
What happened here? The whole town's on fire and everyone's dead. Anyway, we'll be right back after this.
Did you know there's like a bunch of cameos in that inventors convention scene, including like Spielberg and
Really?
Yeah,
different
keep going with
people in the
that. Let's
background?
bring it in
Yeah,
there.
That's great. That's great.
And like they dressed up one guy to look like Joe Dante, because he would always wear like a satin tie and a white shirt and sunglasses. So they had a guy dressed up like him. We got the time machine from the Time Machine, book,
Right.
and then Robbie the Robot from Lost
Yes.
Planet, which is a classic sci. And he's selling like
Right.
oil. Would 60 gallons be sufficient? He's like
That's right.
making deals on the phone. It's
Very
great.
funny.
And so and like some of those people in the background, those are cameos. Like I said, Spielberg and Jerry Goldsmith is the guy in the phone booth with like the bagpipes. If you remember that from that one scene.
Oh
Hilarious.
yeah, no. And I
Yeah.
think there's maybe the guy at the gas station. He was like in the original Thing from the 50s. So
Mhm.
there's like they're throwing it way back, which is cool.
Yeah.
Again, we love a love letter to cinema. Like we like Nope a lot. It's kind of a
Yep.
modern, callback to all of these influences. So
Yeah.
what a fun movie. Thanks for going
What
into the Gremlin verse.
a wonderful movie. We visited a small town. It's been torn apart. We're giving our final thoughts here, though. Before we go,
Mhm.
I'm just going to jump in and say I love this movie. Growing up, I kind of would always mix up John Landis and Joe Dante. And now I feel really bad about that. Many apologies to you,
Sure.
Mr. Dante. But, they were both, again, 50s nostalgia, worked on the Twilight Zone movie. that worked out better for one of them than the other, we'll say.
Yeah.
And made werewolf movies and, just kind of lived in this sort of circle, Howling versus American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
And I think Joe Dante is someone that people just kind of like leave behind now, or like if you're not like a film nut, quote unquote, you just don't crack towards him. And he's like the greatest champion of cinema. He does those movie trailers from hell, which is this entire network and sort of website that he runs and creates. It's a podcast as well, where basically he is just keeping Z-grade films alive. He wants you to know, every movie that existed. I can never remember the guy's fucking name, Jacob, but who's the producer who gave all these guys their shot? I was trying to ramble to you at a party about
Roger
this.
Corman.
Where I said, Mike,
Corman,
you just saved the.
That's
when
right.
I'm at a party. I'm saying to Jacob, and Dick Miller, he's got the same name as a guy that he played in this other movie, produced by this guy who gave him all these jobs, and I can't remember any of the fucking names, and I'm losing it. Jacob's just nodding along. Roger
Corman, of course,
he is
famous for B movies, but
the godfather
The god of
everyone.
We're
we talk
talking
about on this
Carnosaur.
podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
When
even
when
people
James
like Scorsese
Cameron
started, working with Corman,
Boxcar
producing his
Bertha,
early,
all that stuff. When
Mhm.
James Cameron is literally about to release a movie about water, Avatar 2, The Way of Water, which is literally on track to be the biggest movie of all time, you go, gee, I wonder what that guy's origins were. And you look at his first film, Piranha 2, by Roger Corman,
Mm-hmm.
a wet movie as well. And again, Jacob already said it. Who directed Piranha 1? Huh?
Joe Dante.
Let's say his name. Joe motherfucking Dante.
Yeah.
So the world has worked out very differently for two different filmmakers. I guess I'll just say that. Joe Dante not getting a lot of checks from Disney to create, 5 films in a franchise over a course of a decade. Unfortunately not.
Nope.
Yeah, he's like the guy that influenced a whole generation of filmmakers, never got really the credit that he deserved, mostly stuck to B movies his whole career, and continued to make movies for many, many years. And he would make movie with like the smallest budget possible. He just wanted to make movies.
Now, again, who does that sound like that Jacob and I love and talk about all the time? This guy named John Carpenter. But the bitterness of, instead of going, fuck the world, I'm only playing video games now, Joe Dante has never turned his back. He loves this. He directs TV. Every once in a while, people just like genre stuff go like, and it's produced by Joe Dante, because they just literally want to be able to say that. And that's fine if he's okay with that. I hope for more.
Back in action. He made that because he's a huge Looney Tunes fan.
Right.
I'm doing a lot of Brendan movies right now because of The Whale, and we know what's going on. Jacob, I think you just figured out what I'm watching tonight, having done Gremlins yesterday. I think that's the perfect follow-up here.
Well, if I can then mention what I consider one of the best film trilogies, it's not a trilogy. It's all Joe Dante, and it's Gremlins 1, Gremlins 2, and Small Soldiers. They're very, very similar.
Maybe that's what
capitalistic
I'm doing tonight,
bents, and I think they're thematically all linked. And I love
Bill
Small
Hartman,
Soldiers
the Dick Miller of his day.
Yeah, and we get Kirsten Dunst in that. Yeah, I love Small Soldiers.
Small Soldiers.
Dennis Leary's the executive in that.
Yeah, I think so.
Dennis
I haven't
Leary,
seen it in a long time, but Small Soldiers is a movie I watched when I was a kid, thinking it was going to be like a Toy Story type of movie. I was like,
just like Gremlins.
Yeah.
This is not for kids.
That's how Joe Dante gets you.
Little grabbers, little buddies that
Little
attack you.
grabbers.
Joe Dante. I'm interested in little buddies that are good. Joe Dante's interested in little buddies that are bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more fun. Yeah, so I shout out to Joe Dante. I think and
yeah.
Even before I was aware of like directors, right? And I just saw these movies as a kid. I didn't know Joe Dante did both Gremlins and Small Soldiers. I thought movies just they popped out of a pustule of some studio's back.
They just
existed. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you
now,
don't think about the people behind the scenes making
You think the actors make them. I was like, Brendan Fraser's really good at movies. And it's like, no.
But looking back, seeing how much Joe Dante was kind of probably the top 5 influential filmmakers, including, Jim Henson and Spielberg and stuff for me. Like, yeah, Joe Dante's up there because I watched this movie to death. And yeah, I like his style. I like his,
Mike.
he's edge. I like his edge. He's a.
Mhm.
It's the most
Ooh.
emo Christmas movie, I guess. So I like that.
It absolutely is. Last thing I want to say about it is the best line of the entire movie we didn't even mention is Mr. Wing says, the father says, "What is it?" Mr. Wing's response is, "A great responsibility," or a terrible responsibility, right?
Mhm.
With great
Sets up the
Mogwai
entire
comes
thing.
great responsibility.
Yeah.
Exactly. One of our favorite things ever, Jacob posted this in our chat too, is the community parody directed by Rob Schraub, who's just a great visual artist if you haven't seen it, called Portuguese Gremlins.
Yes.
It is Zizhash Joshka Bajishk, which is these little green monsters. And what are they? A terrible responsibility.
And they have
It's
different
the same-
rules.
It's
Yeah,
so good.
It's great.
A must watch for anyone if you have not
Yeah.
seen that.
Much
I
like
love
Key and
Gremlins. That's it.
I'll just say, I agree with like everything you guys are saying. I'm glad that we're doing this episode so that I was able to watch Gremlins, a cultural blind spot for me for a long time, like I said.
Mhm.
And I love this movie. And like I said, the edginess of it, the subversiveness of it, to take this like family friendly concept and be like, and then the little cute things turn into monsters and they do mischievous mischief.
Huh?
But it's great. And every frame of this movie, it's like you can tell it's made by someone who loves movies and loves entertaining people. And that's what every part of this movie is, just they're trying to entertain you at all times. And it has a variety of different tones, like you said, and it's just so good, And it's going to be like a holiday staple for me for now on, that I'm going to be revisiting. I was already talking to my sister, when I go see my family for the holidays, is like, I know she's never seen Gremlins. I know she doesn't even know what it's about. I'm gonna be like,
Oh my
let's
God.
sit down, watch this movie, and then just see her reaction, because she does not know, that they turn into monsters and stuff. So
You're gonna do the
love that.
Santa monologue to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
And
cut
just
a
getting someone's
Gizmo
reaction
only
to-
trailer with some heartfelt music. We'll
Oh,
pass
Right.
it off as
'Cause
if
that's
it's
how I'm
real.
gonna get her, and she's gonna get suckered into it.
No,
She's
it's
like,
cute.
"Oh, cute
Mhm.
little guys, little buddies.
Yep.
And then she's gonna be like, oh my God. So I'm gonna love that. That's gonna be a lot of fun for me.
I likely will watch it again too when I go visit some family back home. It is a yearly staple, but yeah, it's perfect. And I'm glad that you're going to put it on rotation. I think that's the highest compliment. I don't think we've had a bad word to say about it. I think everything holds up. Like,
No.
period. I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything that's
It's
you know,
truly like, it's
dated.
one of those movies that's considered a classic nowadays for a reason. Like something like Back to the Future, like
Mhm.
E.T.
We did
or
Silence of the Lambs on this
Silence
podcast.
of the Lambs,
When
yeah.
we do
Bona fide
these,
classic.
we get very in our zone of being like, look, we know it's been spoken to death, but you can't
But
help
there's a
but be
reason for it.
complimentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gremlins is a little underserved, I think, in the modern era. We were saying
Yes.
what happens next there. Like you said,
Because
a TV
it disappeared.
Totally.
Yeah.
and you're
And
doing
for
a TV
me,
show.
I
Oh, go ahead.
didn't know. Well, just I didn't know how much was really in this movie. Like I knew it was about little guys, that monsters. I didn't
They
know
do
there
some
was the
mischief.
whole kind of consumerism theme and all the movie references and stuff. Like there's so much going on in this movie beyond just the Gremlins, and that's what I really loved about it.
It's extremely dense.
Yeah.
And I did need to underline this. I'm glad I remembered. So Phoebe Cates, that's a dark part. But at the end of the movie, when we have the whole family together, when Mr. Wing's going to come pick up Gizmo, she's wearing a Christmas sweater, which to me indicates she's learned to embrace part of Christmas, which she rejected for the whole film. So she kind of has
Overcome
an
the
arc
trauma.
too. Yeah,
by
but
killing
with
little buddies.
by facing more trauma. Yeah.
Yeah. Murdering things.
But yeah, to do the cartoon or animated series for kids, it's like kids have no nostalgia for this because they have no idea what a gremlin is. So I don't know who that's for. HBO's doing it, but I don't know. It's
probably
not gonna
for
succeed.
people in their, mid 30s that saw it when it first came out and as kids and liked it. So it's kind of another nostalgia property for aging millennials or
I would
early
hope
Gen
it's a
Xers.
merchandise grab that they just see what Baby Yoda's doing and they're like, can we just like move some gizmos? Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have a gizmo, but
Absolutely.
it'd
And
be-
even ET gets a better rap current day than Gremlins does. I feel like it's talked about more, it's Spielberg directed and everything, and everyone knows who ET is. I don't feel like everyone knows who Gizmo is and who the Gremlins are.
Yeah, so this year, when you gather around with your family, instead of arguing about geopolitics and this and that, argue about why Gremlins doesn't get more credit, okay? And Joe
And I'll say
Dante as
this.
well.
That's right. And all the people, it's trendy to say Die Hard. Oh, is it a Christmas movie? Is it not? Gremlins. That's the real underrated Christmas movie. So put that on this holiday season. You're going to love it.
Make a tradition and let us know if you do. Let us know if you already have.
Yes.
Yeah, please, because this is one of my absolute favorites, and it's been a pleasure talking to you guys.
Hit us up at normies_like_us. Let us know your Christmas movie lists. Let us know if this is on there. What you think about Gremlins. Come on. We want to know how fast you would turn one of these little suckers into a monster. If you had a Furby, write in. If you can list other good little buddies, because as these guys were talking, I realized Abu from Aladdin, the ultimate little buddy.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely,
He was maybe my introduction to little
He gets
buddies.
into a little bit of mischief too, though.
Yeah, anything with a monkey that like
to
does
a little.
stuff for you.
Yeah.
When mainly monkeys are little buddies.
A pernicious
So
scamp.
human-like.
A
Yeah.
bird can be one.
I feel like the more mammalian and the more
Yes.
human-like they are, the more little buddy they are.
But also the more dependent on your shoulder they are. Gizmo's dependent on that shoulder.
Yeah,
Little-
you want it to ride around on your shoulder.
Yes, that's the
a key
dream.
part of it.
Very
Yeah.
least a backpack like Yoda. That's an old little
Oh,
buddy.
Salacious Crumb, a little buddy, but not one I would
He's like
want.
a bad little buddy.
He's a gremlin.
He would hang out with the gremlins. Yeah, he'd have a good time.
He's a gremlin, yeah.
Dude, if they
He's
invited
fucking
them,
watching Snow White.
he's like, yo, gremlins, come up to Jabba's palace. We get wild out here.
We're fucking tearing this place apart. I'm
Yeah.
I'm like
Oh, yeah,
popular
listen to
here.
some jizz music.
Yeah. The modal nodes, baby.
Well, that one who likes the jazz, he'd be like, "This is good jizz."
yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. They could be from space. They got to join the Senate. You know, I'm telling you.
Could be.
That's
It's all
right.
tied together.
Bring it back
In
around.
my mind, you know what films are actually tied together? This film and They Live. Because they're both so anti-consumerism. You
Yeah.
could tell me the They Live aliens were like, and we also dropped off a couple fucking Mogwais. And I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Sure.
And a small town on the way over. Yeah.
Yeah.
If only they have one Christmas tree and They Live, we might have a great double feature.
We'd be able to talk about it.
I
But
need
we
to
are going to be
scrub that.
talking some good Christmas stuff coming up. Now, obviously, there's some new releases too. We're figuring it out, but be on the lookout. Our schedule is going to be good. And then we are taking a little bit of a break at the end of the year, right?
Yeah, and to really tie everything together, you know, Salacious Crumb and the Gremlins hanging out in Jabba's barge, you know, we going to be talking about, you know, how do they celebrate Christmas in a galaxy far, far away, you know? So
Well, I'm not sure if we'll be
Stay
celebrating
tuned.
Christmas, Mike, as much as maybe Life Day.
that's
perhaps?
true. Life Day. I got my Life Day
Right.
orb, you know, ready to go. So
If you're expecting it, Star Trek, we're taking a break from Star Trek this month,
Yes.
but we might be staying in the stars for
That's
a
right.
little celebration.
that's
Mm.
right.
All right, so be on the lookout for that coming up. And like we said, at normies_like_us, and check us out on YouTube as well.
That's right.
Otherwise, we've been your hosts. This is I'm gonna call myself like the Kremlin.
I'll just go Michaelin. We'll just do that.
Yeah, there we
This is Gizmo.
go. Tickle me, Gizmo.
Oh, jeez.
Another
Just
big
Tickle
toy.
me Elmo, a little buddy, probably.
They could have had a don't get me wet Gizmo, yeah. Don't feed
Hey,
us
do you
everything,
think-
guys.
Do you think Gizmo's OCD like the guy who plays him, and that's why he doesn't want to be wet?
In Gremlins
doesn't like
2,
it.
he's very averse to water. He hates
Yeah.
it. All right, don't shake his hand, guys. Deal or no deal.
Uh,
And if you
Merry
get the
Christmas.
Mogwai let, you got to have to deal with it. Merry Christmas.
Happy
Caca.
holidays, normies.
Bye.
Happy normie days.